I'm Sharon Waller, and I want to welcome you to our very first podcast of the DownPipe. If you're anything like me, you love your Porsche. However, the next one that you see is always the one that you want. We're going to talk to some of our members. We're going to talk about Porsches. So stay tuned, have fun, sit back, relax with us. Hi, we have Gerald Foster, one of our members. Thank you so much for allowing us into your home. It's so beautiful. We appreciate that. Welcome. All right. Question. I have taken a tour of this beautiful home, and this is your man cave.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so what inspired you to create this man cave like this?
Ooh. So one of the things I wanted to do was, well, let me go back. I always wanted to build my own man cave. So when looking for the home, I had to have a basement, and I had to be unfinished so that I could do it all. So everything that is in here, I watch YouTube videos and I learned how to hang up framing, how to hang up sheetrock, how to do crown molding. I already knew how to run some electrical, but everything in here was done with the exception of the floor. I did it.
Oh, okay.
So, but the inspiration behind it with the man cave, I wanted to, and I'm still not completely done, but I wanted to do something to take all of my hobbies and things that I've enjoyed from my whole life and put them in one room. So now we have this wall over here. Now right now it's still blank.
Right.
But I have my freestyle bike from when I was 14 years old. And I'm getting it, it's in the process of getting redone and everything, and I'm gonna put a bicycle up on the wall.
Oh, okay. Why do you call it a freestyle bike?
That's what they're called. That's one of those bikes where you do tricks and everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I used to be really big into that, and that was that was the thing. I'd be on that bike all day.
Okay.
And then as you see with the all the TVs and the stereo speakers and all that, I kind of went from the bicycle into electronics, and I was a big electronic guy and liked a whole bunch of different gadgets. And even though I had all of that, it carried into the Porsche, which is what the wall is over here.
Wall of Porsches over here. Yes.
So that's where I took. That was my first Porsche that I actually purchased, and I know many people say, did you start with the used one? Why didn't you start with a used one or so?
Right.
I was like, I'm gonna do it. Let me just go ahead and do it. You know,
Right.
so I went.
Gotcha.
I went new, and so these pictures here, they show the differences. Like I have the top row shows the exterior features, and the bottom row shows some of the interior features, and then the middle just shows some different angles of the vehicle itself.
Oh, wow. Now, did you do the framing yourself?
Yes.
Oh,
That was my own creative design there. I call myself trying to be artistic, so I put something together.
Wonderful. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I thought it came out pretty good.
It did. That's a great wall. A great wall. Yeah. Okay, you have such a beautiful home here. Members always want to know how, or anyone basically want to know, how do you achieve this level of success? Tell us a little bit about your backstory.
Well, going back to the bicycle, I grew up on a military base, and one of the things is you had to cut grass. You had to have your yard cut every Wednesday. They came around and did inspections. So at 14 years old, it was like, how can I make some money? And at that time, your parents give you like $2, $3 for chores. And I can't buy no bike with $2, $3 every 2 weeks. So I started my own lawn care business. And I would go around the base on every Monday and Tuesday and cut yards. And then I remember the way I got the bike the first summer, it was one summer I said, okay, beginning of summer, I'm gonna go out here. I'm not gonna spend no money, no bubble gum, candy, none of that.
Right.
And I took all of my money and I put it in a Kool-Aid jar. You know, if you remember those big Kool-Aid jars where you had just 8 scoops to fill a gallon, I put it in there and I saved it up. And at the end of the summer, I had enough to go buy the bicycle. And that kind of led to my entrepreneurial thing as I continued on in school and went through high school, college. I started at Georgia, transferred to Kennesaw State, and that's where I finished at. I've always been one to like marketing, business, entrepreneurship. So after doing UPS for about 13 years as an operations manager, I decided I want to do something different. And I always had a passion for cars.
Okay.
My father was an auto mechanic, and he was 20 years in the military, and then he taught auto mechanics in high school for 20 years. So I was always around cars. And so with me being around cars, that led to, okay, I knew what kind of car I wanted, and I liked a Porsche. And there was just one poster I had. It was called, it was Justification for Higher Education. And it had the house on the hill with the garage, and it had the 5 cars, and of course one of those in there was a Porsche. And so it was like, oh yeah, I gotta work on that. And as I continued on, I started my own, well, after I left UPS, I decided to start my own detailing business. Still centered around cars, because I always like to take a car and see how clean I can make it and do all of that. So that is where I got my start from, and it was just gradually going, started detailing. And then I remember when I finally made a decision to go, all right, I'm going to go get this Porsche. It was an interesting thing. So I was talking with a friend, and she was buying one. She was actually buying a Macan. And I was sharing with her. I said, you know, we were talking, and she was like, look, I want to get it. And I was sitting there like, look, why don't you just move and just go do it? Let God move and lead you and see what comes. And she ended up getting it, and I was still detailing her car. And it was like she had the car for like 6 months, and I knew that she only had like 1,000 miles on it. So I'm like, look, you need to drive the car. You ain't driving it. You got 1,000 miles on here. And so she's like, well, when you gonna get yours? And I started making excuses. Well, you know, no, just like you told me, when you gonna move on it? And I'm like, you got a point. I did say that. So the same thing I said to her, she used it on me. So then she suggested, look, I got to go over here, and I think she was going for her, where they do their little meeting, explaining how the features of the car after so long. So she was like, look, come meet my guy. I'll introduce you, and you can get started. Okay, cool. So I go there, I meet the gentleman. I go over to Perimeter Porsche, and I'm sitting there, and I meet the gentleman. He takes me on a 2-hour test drive. We're going all around.
That's great.
And it was just going around and everything, and doing all that. And we was in a cab. He had a chalk one. Now, the interesting thing about that, I was trying to be cheap when I first started. I was trying to get a Boxster. Because I'm like, hey, I'm going to get a Boxster. I knew I wanted a convertible, but I'm going to get a Boxster. Yeah, that's only, I see that for 50,000. I can get one of them. Yeah, I can get a used one.
Okay, no offense to the Boxster.
Yeah, I was just trying to be cheap, because I was, and the thing about it that was interesting though was we sat in the car. So what the sales guy did, he had a Boxster. He sat in there, and me and him sat in there. And it's like, nah, this ain't gonna work, because I'm a big guy, he's a big guy, we rubbing elbows. So I'm like, nah, this is not gonna work. So then he put me in a 911, a 991.2. And he sat in there, and
you had a little bit more room?
Oh, more room. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm good. You know, but the funny thing was, my thing was price. It's like, don't worry about that. I'm like, nah, I need to know the price. You know, so we sat in there, we did that. I like this. I said, I'm good with this here. When he told me the price, it was funny. He says, about 100,000. I said, I think I'm all right with that. I'll make that work. Hold on, I got one more. Okay. So then he put me into 992. And that one, it just came out, and it's like, ooh. And it was a chalk one. And it had the red interior, and it was like, oh, I like this instead, because the thing that got me was all the gadgets. And it was the digital computer screen and all of that. I'm like, oh yeah, this is it. So I didn't ask price, I just went and drove. So we're just driving around and everything. And the crazy thing about that, so we're driving around, and finally we get to the point where it's we're headed back to the dealership. And so I'm like, how much is this one? And he's like, it's 156. Instantly I'm like, oh yeah, no, I can't afford that. I was like, nope, that's too much. Nope. So he's like, well, let me show you a base model. So we go test drive that. And I knew I wanted a stick shift. So to get the stick shift, you couldn't get it in a base on a 992.
Now, real quick, why did you want a stick shift?
That's what I always drove. My first car was a 74 Volkswagen. It was a stick shift. And it's like, you're gonna get a sports car, you gotta get a stick shift. You know? So So as I went on, and I was going back and forth to this dealership. I'm going up there on a regular basis, like, hey, let me check this out. Let me look at this. And I'm on a RIN list and trying to sit there and study that. I was spending hours. It got to the point, it was so bad. My kids were like, I would fall asleep watching YouTube videos, and they were like, Dad, cut the TV off. You just got videos playing, because all they would hear is a car driving and some guy, the Porsche 992 does this and this, and they're sitting there waking up in the middle of the night like, please, Dad, cut it off. So as we went on, way I got to where I was going to put the skip one, I went to go talk to another guy that I know, and he was like, why don't you just put a deposit down? I said, yeah. I said, how much I need to put down? He's like, just $2,500. And so I'm thinking, that's it? This is easy. Okay. So we put it down, and then he's talking to me, and we're talking about which model, and he's like, well, if you're going to get a stick, you want a stick shift, you can't get it with the base. I'm like, yeah. He said, just go ahead and get the S, and that way, he said, over time, it's a few dollars more, because I had a few bills. He said, but you'll absorb that cost. You won't even recognize it. I said, okay. So I remember when I got the allocation, my sales guy calls me and says, hey, I got an allocation for you. And I'm like, okay.
Can you explain the allocation? Some people may not know what allocation.
When you get the car, so in this case, I wanted the cab, so I had to go and put a deposit. Once you get an allocation, because so many, Porsche only releases so many of them to the dealers, then the dealership, they gift you one or assign you one. Hey, we're going to give you an allocation. So I got that. It took about 2 months. Well, maybe a month. I put a deposit down at the end of July, 1st of September. I'm getting an allocation.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't, I guess I don't think that was too long. I was I didn't know what to expect. So when we got that allocation, it's a funny thing because the dealer calls me and he's like, yeah, I got your allocation. Congratulations. I'm like, okay. I said, when is the car going to be here? December. I said, no, I don't need it then. I was like, what you mean? I said, no, I don't want it then. I want it in July. Like, July? Yeah, I want it July next year. It's like, I never had nobody. Want it later. And in my head, and this is going to where I'm going to, I'm thinking of long term, like, nah, I need to plan for July. December's too soon. So I go ahead and I said, let me call you back. So later on that day, I'm working and everything. And then I stop. It was the end of the day, about 4 or 5 o'clock. I check my email. I remember I get the letter from Porsche, the email, congratulations, Mr. Foster. You have, your 911, da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, then I call him back. All right, let's go with it. So now I'm all excited now. So the fun thing about it was during this time, I didn't tell my kids. So I had them all on the configurators. We're on laptops, we're building cars. So all 3 of my boys are with me, helping me design the car. And they're coming up with all kind of crazy ideas. They're putting red air conditioned vents with yellow trim. No, we're not doing the McDonald's thing. I mean, they're doing everything. But they, my oldest one, he's a big car guy, and he was helping me and everything. So as we get to the point where the car comes, and it's the day before the car's to be picked up. I did an experience center delivery. I told my boys, I said, look, we're going to go to the experience center, because this was in the middle of COVID. And I said, we're going to go to the experience center. I called Porsche ahead of time. I said, look, my boys don't know. I got the car. Keep it a surprise. He's like, cool, we got you. And so we go on, and we get there, we eat lunch. If you've ever been, they have the restaurant 356. And then it gets to the point where the car's in the room and it's covered up. And our tour guide, he said, he talks to my boys. He said, guys, this is where people go to get their cars when they get them delivered. So of course I'm going, oh Dad, maybe one day you get your car here. And the car's sitting there covered, and then the guy stops and he says, well, look, I want to take a second. And he talks to the guys. He said, guys, I want to make sure y'all know, keep working hard, do what you're supposed to get good grades, all of that. Okay. And then he tells them, today, y'all are taking that car home. And then they're sitting there like, what? they thought we got a car. They all, yeah, we got a car. Yeah. So they're loving that. So of course, when you go in there into the room, it's laid out. They have your name up on a big 70-something inch screen. Welcome, congratulations, the car's covered. And you have that whole thing, and then they have a photographer that's actually out there taking pictures of you, the whole catching every moment. So we took pictures in front of the car, we took them there, and then they had the moment where they pulled the cover off. I can't lie, I got a little mystified, I had a little, of course, my son, he was taking a picture, and he said to one of my buddies, he said, I think my dad is crying. He's like, I don't know why. But and my buddy teased me later. I said, no, the thing about it was that was a time when I was reflecting on wish my dad was here because he had passed several years before I went to go make the decision to get the car.
Shed tears.
Yeah, so it was like, oh man, this would have been great for him to see this.
Right.
So yeah. So that was that. Like I said, we drove the car, raced, went on the track, and I drove and just had a blast.
Oh wow, that is wonderful. That's a good story, and it's a perfect example also that it's something we all can achieve. We all can achieve that if that's our goal, if that's what we want to do.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Earlier, you mentioned something about detailing cars. Now, it's got to be more to it than that. You have this beautiful home. You have the 911. What else is going on? Tell us about it so we all can get with the mind.
So detailing cars, that is one of my passions. I've always enjoyed doing it.
Right.
One of the things I learned is when you do what you enjoy, it's not work.
Right.
During that time when I was at the allocation from that September all the way through December, January, I think I watched more cars than anybody because it was like, I'm going to get everything done. And I was out there, but no, I took a plan and I sat there and said, okay, this is what I want to do. How do I need to do it? And I started, one of the things that was amazing was I started working out a plan and doors started opening. Because I found that what I found was, it was not to get all spiritual, but it was like, okay, God, I want this car. What do I got to do? And what I heard was just do what you do, And I went and I just continued to work. And as I did that, and then I do car detailing and pressure washing. But as I was moving along, it was like I would get this job, and here's a big job. Like, well, I didn't go. It just happened. Then another job, then this and that, and then it was crazy because I remember when I had planned everything out, and I was like, okay, God, I want to be able to pay this car off and not even think nothing about it. And I got a contract for a job, and the job that I got, it was funny because I went and did a class like 5 years before, and I put my name in this little directory. It was part of the UGA continuing education. I put my name in a directory that I clean commercial equipment, pressure wash, and car detail. So I get a call from a company that's like, hey, do you still do that? And I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how do I find this?
And that was 5 years ago.
This was 5 years previous where I filled out this. And I said, yes. And so they were like, yeah, we want you to put in a bid. Okay. So I'm like, all right. Now, I didn't take it seriously at that time. I was, all right, I'll charge this. And I sent the bid in. And then was awarded a bid. So it's like, okay. Wasn't thinking nothing about it because I'm sitting there, all right, cool. Because they wanted net 72. And I'm like, I got to wait 72 days to get paid. So I'm sitting there just like, okay. So it was one night I was out pressure washing I was doing a Taco Bell parking lot pressure washing. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm out there pressure washing, and that's when it clicked. It was like, because when you're out in the middle of the night, you sit in there, have plenty of conversation, you can solve all the world problems. It's just you and everybody else. So I'm sitting out there at 1 in the morning, and I'm like, all right, God, And so I was like, how are we gonna pay this car? I want to pay it where it's just, I ain't thinking blink at all. So then the guy was like, look, how much is that job paying you each week? I was like, I did the number. Okay. Multiply that by 4, because I go there once a week. Okay. And then it's a 3-year contract. And it was like, oh, shoot. I was like, and it clicked. It's like, oh, dang, I didn't realize that. So one of the things, where you ask, what is it with the detailing? Yes, do what you enjoy.
Right.
Move in it. Continue to move in what you do. And then as you do, doors started opening. But as long as you're where you're supposed to be,
right,
I think a way will always make its way.
Okay. I've heard so much about this car. Wonderful story.
Thank you.
Where is the car? People want to see this beautiful car. Is there any way that we can see the car today?
We have to go to the back cave.
Oh, okay. We got the man cave. We got the back cave.
We gotta go to the back cave to see the car. But yes, let's go see.
Okay, great. We are next to this beautiful 911. Gerald, tell us something about this vehicle. Every time you talk about it, we get really, really excited. So just give us some details about this.
Well, first off, where to start? I've reached the full capacity as far as making it go as fast as it can go. So I had an opportunity to go to Kennedy Space Center, put it on the runway. I was able to get it up to 191 miles an hour. And it just kind of just sailed along. But I've done a lot of modifications to it. So I guess to start with, the modifications I did them so that they're hidden, but you don't see them. So starting with the stereo, I changed out all the factory speakers and everything, even put additional subwoofers in there because I like to have the top down, have the music loud. So it's an amazing sound because you can just really hear. So I changed out the speakers from a performance standpoint. I've added a tune. I've put 200 cell cats in there. I've put a valved exhaust. I put a short shifter. I've just changed out tires because it came with the Pirelli tires, went with Michelin tires for better grip.
Okay.
And then the one thing that really stands out that I just recently did was I put a matte PPF on here. So did the whole car. So underneath it, it's still shiny and glossy like it normally would, but I now can protect the paint and it's got a matte PPF, giving it a stealth look. So that's why we kind of call this the Batcave. Now, one thing you will probably notice is that it's sitting on this lift.
Yes. Yeah.
So you got a 3-car garage and I used one of the spaces for whatever, but then that leaves me with 2. So it's like, hey, what if you get a lift so you can raise it up, park another car underneath, and then you still got 3 cars inside. So most people, most of my friends, they come over, they see it, and they're like, hey man, what is this? Because I can tell it looks good because I had a little kid say it looked like John Wick's garage.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I did right. So, but yeah, but it's I have a blast in it. Go riding with the top down and just crank the music up and just go have fun. Yeah.
Well, it looks like a very fun vehicle. Based on what your story, you deserve.
Well, thank you.
To applaud you for sharing with us, allowing us into your home, and taking us on this tour of the vehicle, letting us see what's added. Mind showing the interior as well?
Yeah.
That's black.
So yeah, we did black with the chalk stitching. Of course, you got to have a stick shift.
Right.
And we got laser jammers, radar detectors. Oh gosh, it's so much in there that, like I said, I wanted to keep it low key where you don't see it.
Right.
And you just don't know. And it just, when you look at it, it looks stock. But then when you start it up, it's like, okay, that's not stock. You know.
Now, you took your boys with you to
Yes.
experience getting this vehicle. You let them drive it?
So when my oldest turned 18, I took him over to a parking lot at the high school. I got my camera, I videotaped him, I let him drive.
Oh, okay.
And he drove around the parking lot. So he can't say, so I got him, he's got a
That's
straight, here you
it.
go, you're driving. Now, they don't know how to drive a stick shift yet. So, and I haven't really wanted to have them practice on this. It's like, no, I can make the suggestion, let's go find a stick shift, and then we'll do it. But my oldest, he swears that I can drive it. Like, I'm not quite ready to let you just try and just practice, but you did it in the parking lot. You didn't get out of second gear, but you got to do it.
Right.
So, and we got video of it, so you can still sit there and show that you was driving one. But
So that's the key. Get a stick shift. That way your kids cannot drive your vehicle, okay?
absolutely.
Gerald, thank you so much. We truly appreciate you allowing us into your beautiful home, sharing that story. It's just really motivating. And it just lets us know that we all can do this. Just be motivated. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to our first episode of the DownPipe. I want to thank the Black Porsche Club of Atlanta. We have so much going on, and we have so many more episodes for you guys. So please tune in.